how do I feel about that? Am I really hungry? Or is it just I'm tired, or I'm bored, or I'm not happy, and I'm trying to use this food, this particular especially high in calories and high in fat and carb food, in order to solve my issues, which still won't be solved, but at the same time, after eating all that food, I will have this nagging feeling that I'm a failure, that I'm going to blame myself, that physically I feel not so good. Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about one thing that I'm currently dealing with, and definitely it's a part of way bigger process, and I'm talking here about the emotional eating episodes, especially binge eating. And this is something that I'm dealing since the time I was a teenager, and I know a lot of people also dealing with that, and definitely I'm going to make a separate video about that, because currently I'm testing a couple of things which working for me. And I do believe that, especially if we're talking about these type of issues, individual approach is very important, because we are so different, and the reason why it's happening to us are so different. So we just need to know ourselves, we need to test it, and we need to see what actually works for us. But today I want to talk about one specific aspect of it, and especially binge eating and emotional eating when it's happening at night, and especially when it's regularly happening at night. And this type of issue even have their own name. So there is such thing as night eating syndrome, and definitely I'm not an expert, so you need to search information about it yourself in case you have that type of thing. But the idea is that we're kind of living in some kind of circle. It's like you waking up in the morning not hungry, so you're most probably skipping breakfast or eating something extremely light. Probably also same is happening during the lunchtime. But once evening is coming, you're eating enormous amount of food, high in fat, high in calories, high in carbs. And because we are overeating in the evening, again in the morning when we're waking up, there is no hunger, you are not so hungry at that time, and it's kind of we are living in that type of circle. This is something I experienced. Not always. There were cases when I in general had episodes of binge eating and emotional eating, not only at night. There were cases when I was especially focused on that at night, I had those cases. So it's a bit complex thing. But recently, because of some changes I have applied to my lifestyle, I've noticed very good changes connected with dealing, especially with night binges and with night overeating. So I definitely want to talk about that, and I want to share it. And I know it's a big problem, because some people even waking up at night and eating, or they cannot fall asleep in case they skip dinner or something. I mean, it's a really complex thing. So at least what's working for me, and according to what I've read, I've seen, and some little research I have done online, I mean, there are some general tendency that may help. It's working for me. Again, it's not always. There are better days, there are worse days, there is days when it's harder to control my binges and my cravings. But overall, thanks to some techniques that I started implementing, some kind of approaches, I have seen significant improvement. First of all, it's all about eating enough, not only in terms of calories, but in terms of nutritional values of the food we're eating. And I mean eating enough carbs, eating enough protein, especially eating enough fat, eating enough food rich in vitamins. So it should be some kind of whole food, something that keeps you satisfied, something that gives you all the necessary vitamins and minerals. And in case you consume enough of that, the cravings are reducing, especially cravings at night. Of course, some cravings can have emotional source, not just physical source. But in case you are physically satisfied, it already improves the situation. Which leads to one more important part of it: not skipping breakfast. Especially if you are trying to break this circle overeating at night, so obviously you are not going to be so hungry in the morning. But yet, kind of get up maybe a bit earlier, or force yourself, especially in those first days and weeks, to eat a good, nice, big, voluminous breakfast will significantly help to reduce hunger during evening times. Same goes also for lunch. So nice, big breakfast and lunch full of protein, full of fiber, vegetables, fruits, etc. Maybe at the first it's not going to completely eliminate evening cravings because it's already some kind of like a habit, but it's going to help to significantly reduce it. This is something I have noticed once I started paying more attention, especially to my breakfast. It's like a game changer for me. Next part connected with actually satisfying also your emotional some kind of hunger partially. Of course, we need to deal with the issues we're experiencing, and also like dealing with emotions in a different way without involvement on food, but still food has this emotional component, which brings me to this idea that the food should be satisfying in terms of your emotions. And what I mean by that, it's like the food should be tasty. You should really enjoy it. You should not just eat this boiled broccoli or boiled chicken breast that you kind of hate and it's tastes awful or it's bland, in case you love it, of course. But the food should be satisfying. It should look nice on your plate. So you should get some kind of aesthetic satisfaction from how it looks on the plate, the colors you see there, the texture and everything, and the taste. When you're eating whole food, it's also possible to make this whole food tasty, not bland. Add some also food that you like, even be it some kind of desserts or your favorite fruits or some other stuff you really enjoy. Because if you skip this enjoyment, if you restrict yourself from enjoyment from food, it's also so much harder to fight those cravings because they're kind of getting stronger. But in case you feed them, you feed your cravings as well, but like you're eating like a small piece, not like the whole cake. It works. Again, you need to find your balance with that. You need to practice. It's not gonna happen in one day, but it's definitely a workable tool. Next part, which I also think is extremely important, is having a plan. So there are days when we are weaker than normally. So maybe we had a stress, maybe something else happened and you feel like you want to eat, or maybe you were busy and you couldn't have a proper meal, so you're hungry. And in case you are like reaching that point when you're extremely hungry or something, it's so easy to indulge into these not so healthy food choices. But if you prepared, if like you have prepared food ahead, or you keep it in your home, some healthy snacks, so you know, in case you have this craving or this idea that you want to eat something, you will have healthier options. That's already saved you a lot of time for like making the right decision. And at the same time, again, maybe it's not completely going to solve that issue yet, but it's going to significantly help you to deal with that. One more important part connected with water, and this is something I'm actively working on. As I told in one of my previous video, in summer I drink quite a lot of water, so it's not issue with me. And I have noticed that in summer I'm normally like losing weight or I have less cravings. But in winter, somehow it's hard to drink more water. Like I almost don't drinking it. I have my coffee, I have my tea, I have some other drinks, but I'm practically not drinking water. So now I'm trying to pay attention to that. And you probably already heard these ideas that sometimes you're not even hungry. Maybe you're just thirsty. That's why you're drinking all that water. And there is truth to that. Again, not everything is black and white. But drinking a lot of water eventually is good for us, good for our health, and it also helps to dealing with cravings. And the last part, also connected with something I have said previously, no black and white thinking. So in case you feel craving, and definitely you're gonna have cravings, you cannot like just reach the state when there will be no cravings at all. These things are part of our life. The point is only how we deal, how we act or not acting on that particular cravings. So in case you try to distract yourself, you try to eat more voluminous food, you try to eat more protein and fiber, but you still have that craving, go and eat. And it doesn't mean like in case you eat a piece of cake, so that's all. That's like you indulge into that, you broke your rules, or so it's like a failure. No. There is big difference between eating the whole cake or eating like 10 pieces of cake and eating one piece of cake. There is not like you don't eat cake, okay, great, you are a successful person. You eat one like bite of that cake, it's a failure. No, there are still gradation, and there is difference between eating one cake or even a couple of pieces of cake, that's also fine, and getting this satisfying feeling from that, and eating the whole like big cake or many pieces of cakes and feel bloated and feel guilty and feel unhappy with your decision and blame yourself. The difference is huge. And when you're only starting working on that, it's kind of difficult to see this line. It's difficult even to stop yourself in the moment of craving. But once you kind of working on that, once you having experience, your mind, your body has this experience of pausing, of talking to yourself, of asking yourself some questions, it's getting way easier. And it's all matter of practice, and it's all matter of personal approach to this point. So maybe something that I have just said is gonna be helpful for you, maybe not. Maybe you need to test and try something different. But the idea is we're working with ourselves. We're asking some questions. We are observing how we feel. We see how our body reacts to a different kind of food. We see how our body reacts to stress. And we just learning and teaching ourselves to pause, to think, to analyze why I'm eating that. Am I really hungry? Is this food tasty? Do I like how these all look on my plate? Do I like the taste? Do I like the structure? Do I like the texture? Do I like the smell? Do I like the color? How do I feel about that? Am I really hungry? Or is it just I'm tired, or I'm bored, or I'm not happy, and I'm trying to use this food, this particular especially high in calories and high in fat and carb food, in order to solve my issues, which still won't be solved, but at the same time, after eating all that food, I will have this nagging feeling that I'm a failure, that I'm going to blame myself, that physically I feel not so good, I feel bloated, etc. We're dealing with ourselves like with our best friend, like with our family member, like with our child. We are talking, we are trying to help ourselves. And the more tools you have, the more options you have, it's the easier it is to find something that works for you. Definitely there are some universal directions like protein, like fiber, like that type of things. But again, we need to know ourselves, and dealing with our cravings, with our binge eating episodes, with our emotional eating episodes, according to your observation, according to how you feel about that. This is a very big and very important topic for me, and I'm going to make a couple of videos about that, because especially now, after almost 4 months of testing different theories, it feels like I have found something that works for me. So I want to share, maybe my example will be also useful for people who are also suffering and dealing with similar issues. But still, my kind of key and main message here, we all so different. We all have different triggers. We all have different reasons why we have come to a certain place. That's why our road to recovery also might be different. There might be some similar tendency. And it's good to listen to more stories and kind of find something that might be a workable tool for you. But at the same time, we should listen to ourselves and deal with ourselves and help ourselves. So I hope you find this video useful. I'm really interested in this topic now, and I have so many ideas and so many interesting things that I have discovered recently while I'm researching this topic. So definitely I'm gonna make some more videos on that. And if you have any specific questions or ideas or some techniques that you're applying in order to solve similar issues, please share them. Thank you for watching this video. Please like it and subscribe to my channel if you like it, and I will see you soon.